What is up, everyone? If you guys saw in the last video, we were here in Chesapeake, Virginia, here at Angel Motorsports with Mr. Mike Vargas himself, who's over there. He's got the kids today, so we got him come in on a Sunday. He was doing a, well, I'll call it a house call, so thank you so much for making this happen. But if you guys remember, we've been talking about getting our 13B built for our FC RX-7 for a very long time, and Vargas has been putting it together for us. And we showed it in the last video, but we'll get right after because we want to get this thing done. So boom, right here. This is it. All powder coated housings. We went with the black and silver. I thought it was a nice look. You could do any colors you want. You can go crazy. You can go tacky. You can go extravagant. Oh yeah. This I feel like just is nice.
It's like old schoolish, simple, clean. It will go with everything. Really.
It's not the Mickey D special over there.
the Gundam colors.
The what?
He wanted Gundam colors.
Oh, Gundam colors? Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense. There's a lot of info we got to share today. I'm going to try and keep it like moving so it's not too boring, but there is a lot of good information here.
A lot to do in half a day.
And a lot to do. So first thing I want to talk about is 13Bs, right? There's a bunch of 13Bs out there. What 13B did we go with? Right here we have the S5 Turbo 2 FC RX-7 housings, right? That's plates. Plates, yeah. Right? So
they're the stronger ones.
They're the stronger plates. What's that one? How are you? Just pushed. Vargas has shown me the difference in the plates between the different generations. It seems like
every no EGR.
No EGR, here. Which is nice. No
and
giant hole.
It's got a reinforcement on the rear dowel. This little leg.
So you were showing me before. Basically, every generation of these housings, the dowel area just gets thicker and stronger.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The S4, the earlier ones. S4 ones don't have like reinforcements, and they usually crack about 350 horsepower.
That's it?
Yeah, so it's such a weak point because the dowels are the only thing that keeps the engine together.
That's like the head studs, right? The dowels.
Yeah, so the dowels, since it's a weaker part, it will just crack it and it'll leak oil.
So we got the S5 housings, which is later FC housings that are thicker around, the castings stick around here. And if you saw the 13B REW, which is the FD engine, the superior engine, it is way more reinforced. Oh, yeah. So we're gonna get right to work building this thing, and before we touch anything, we gotta get the rotors themselves actually ready. So I think that's step one, right?
Yeah, build the rotors. So they're already balanced, the bearings are already pressed, so we got that out of the way. The engine's already ported, so that's out of the way also.
Also, we went with a half bridge.
Yeah, we went half bridge for the Braps.
Yeah, we wanted the Braps. So with the bridge port comes a little bit of inefficiency at idle. It's kind of like getting a big an overlap, so that's why you kind of have to let them idle a little bit higher, and it's a little obnoxious. So a lot of guys don't really like bridge porting street cars.
You know, you wouldn't mind like a cammed LS or anything like that. You know that it's gonna be shit to take off. Yeah, it's gonna be shitty cruising and traffic and all that stuff. So.
But it's worth it, man.
Yeah, it sounds cooler. It breaks necks. So.
Let's get right to it. Let's get these rotors together. Since we have a 13B, it is just a 2-rotor engine, so we got both my rotors right here. Vargas pressed new bearings in it in the inside here. See all those big juicy bearings, and then they were balanced, and the sides were shaved, weren't they?
Yeah, they're race clearance. So that just to keep it from hitting the plates at high RPM.
Is there a big difference between different rotors of different 13Bs? Or are they
compression pockets right here?
Smaller the pocket, the higher the compression.
Yes.
Right. So like a benefit to, I mean, obviously higher compression engines, they have the benefit.
Yeah, you're just moving the power around. So let's say 14 pounds is the max on a turbo rotor. Before you start hitting, you hit detonation around 17, right? Yeah. At 14 pounds, I like to say max because you can beat on it and beat on it and beat on it and beat on it. When it's 17, you beat on it once, then you gotta let it cool down.
You gotta let it cool down, yes.
You know, because the next, probably the second or third pull is gonna blow up. You know, like,
you would know better than anyone. So guys, if you guys haven't noticed, I'm trying to suck out as much information for you guys right now because I feel like rotaries are like this big mystery that like everyone wants to learn about, right? Yeah. I see 2 rotors and a bunch of stuff over here. What's step number 1?
Step number 1 is to get the oil control ring buckets on. So these buckets are gonna have these O-rings in them. So we gotta get these O-rings in the buckets first. Okay. And we gotta lube them up with some grease.
Yeah, that's right. Just get after it. Yeah, just get after it. I see a mix of parts here. Is there anything you like using OEM over aftermarket, aftermarket over OEM?
So aftermarket wise, we like using the water seals aftermarket.
Okay.
The Mazda ones They work good, but after the engine overheats, they will fail.
Okay.
These don't fail if the engine overheats, so it's like a, you know, you can have a coolant hose blow out, you can do hot lap it, and it won't destroy your engine, you know? Mazda plates are 20-something years old. They're kind of worn out.
Yeah, they're fatigued at this point.
And some areas are lower than others, so water seals, Mazda water seals are built to a certain spec. They're slightly oversized to take into account that it is a 30-year-old engine.
And then I see you were telling me before about the side seals, how they have a lot more surface contact than aftermarket ones.
Yeah,
which
so
is...
the aftermarket ones have less surface area, so this way.
Oh, there you go.
Contacting the plate, so these build better compression. These build better compression than this.
And then I see OEM springs.
Yeah, OEM springs, OEM corner seals, same thing.
And then everything else we're using aftermarket.
Yeah. First is gonna be these rings.
Okay.
So, and they're gonna go in these buckets in here, and that's it.
Alright, so we got these cleaned up. Okay, that's it.
Yeah,
one.
that's it.
Nice.
If it blows up, he did it. So this is the only thing that keeps the oil from out from the chambers. You scrape the oil off the plate as the rotor passes, because you know the rotor itself is full of oil, and this keeps it from coming this way.
Oh, and then going and burning out.
Yeah, you see that shiny part right there?
Yep.
This is like on a taper, so that shiny part is what's actually touching the plate.
Okay.
On the inside.
Oh, on the inside.
They're a little bit harder to put in. Start from the bottom. Do have a front, we do have a rear, and then the direction of these springs matters a lot. You have to have something to keep this spring from spinning. There's a little tab right here, and the spring stops it right there, keeps it from spinning. This is the wrong way.
Yeah.
So you don't want this one here.
Okay.
You want one that has this flat part on this side to keep it from rotating this way.
Okay.
Yeah, put that right there.
Cool. Is that an OEM piece?
This? Yeah.
Okay. And you take that, the bigger, you just...
And then it's got a flat area right here.
Okay, that's gonna prevent the spring from...
Yeah, so you put that on the flat area right here. So if you miss it, like, it's not a big deal, because it will like eventually spin itself and find itself. The grease, they go in a lot easier. Still hard to get in, but... And then this one, find the flat spot, and then put it on a
little flat spot to stop the spring. See?
Right there.
Yeah, little flat spot that's going to grab the edge of the spring so the thing doesn't rotate. So that is going to be right there. The spring keeps these kind of like not from bottoming out in the rotor, and it keeps it so it'll probably have a little bit of pressure against the housings.
We label them just to keep them. We know this is the front rotor. Now this one is the opposite way. Now this one needs this one right here, stopping it.
Oh, because since they're both going to be technically spinning opposite directions, that's why you need to... Okay, that makes sense.
So right here, if the rotor's spinning this way, the round part's going to stop it on the rotor, and this part right here is going to stop the ring.
That makes sense.
We just did this one, and now we got to do that one. So that one, the gear faces back. So you got to remember that. Front gear,
gear forward, gear back.
Gear back. So
YouTube magic, seals. Next part we just did together so I can look like a superhero, like I know what I'm doing here. So right here, these are corner seals and side seals, which is instead of sealing oil, we are sealing for compression here, right? So I want to make sure this is spot on, because we don't want lower compression when housing together. So first thing we have is these little springs here for the corner seals, right? They have a slit in them because they go on the edge here where the apex seal actually goes. We got our OEM corner seals, shiny side up. Make sure it bounces back. If it doesn't, you got some dirty stuff in there, or it's just there's an issue with your rotor. You know, Vargas, we're used to kids running around. We got a DJ in the shop all the time, so corner seals are good, right? Make sure they're all springy and not stuck. Good, easy peasy. Now, for the spring for the side seal. Really easy to lose. Almost already dropped one. So we want the little lip right here, you see how it kicks up? To be up and not down, so there's pressure on the seal all the way to the edge. Does that make sense? You see it?
Yeah.
Cool. Put it in the center as much as you can. This thing blows up, it really is gonna be my fault. Cool. I'm excited though, this is fun. This is the fun part. I feel like everyone's just like, Vargas, build me an engine. And then you drive it, drop it off, and everyone makes big power. Okay, springs are in. Now for the side seal. Da, 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 da. A part we can actually mess up.
Yeah.
All right. These actually come way longer than they need to be, so we actually have to kind of cut these down, kind of like piston rings, right? So here we go. You said clean the edge first. I'll clean the edge first. 45, straight pass. Love that. Is there a certain grit you use, or just whatever you have in the back?
220 is good.
We go to fit it. And see how it hits the corner seal? Yeah, you guys see how it sits on the corner seal just a little bit? We're gonna have to shave that down so it fits between the two with a very tight tolerance. You said 2,000 was the tightest.
Yeah.
Cool. If it's looser, we're gonna lose a little bit of compression. It'll basically be, I guess, essentially blow by. And if it's too tight, things can't operate correctly. So this is where we sit here and we grind it away very gracefully, little by little. 45 degree, you said, right?
Yep.
To account for the angle of the seal. And we just sit here and we scrape. And test fit. So it just fits in between, but we can tell it's too tight because when we move the corner seal up and down, you see how it moves the seal with the two, the side seal?
This is gonna expand with heat, and it'll put so much pressure on it that it'll crack it right there. Like it'll push it in that way. So it's like a too tight of a ring gap will crack a ring. You can use that. But I heard it.
It's kind of good. Yeah, this is too tight. A bunch more to go. So now is the big moment, the apex seal. I feel like this is the forbidden seal everyone always talks about, right?
Yeah.
So this part is, when it comes to picking the seal, that's like really controversial part. It seems to be very.
Everybody thinks they have the best seals and everything.
Yeah.
So it's super controversial what seals you run.
So is your seal a secret, or is this like?
No, this Rotary Aviation. That's all we've always used.
Rosie, is that what you like? Yeah.
You like these?
So I've seen a lot of guys slide these in after the rotor is already in the housing.
Yep. I like doing the seals, the springs and the seals together.
Yep.
Just because it makes it kind of hard to line up after the rotor and the housing.
Start with the big spring, right? So we're gonna drop this thing in here. There's a center spring, which is the same thing but smaller, right? Because this is gonna be pushing the apex seal out, which is gonna be sealing the actual chamber. Right in the center, easy. Now, next part is the apex seal itself.
These springs for the apex seals, they're only to have compression at crank.
Okay.
Once the engine's running, inertia takes over.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it'll push the seal. So if you think about it, you're like, how is this spring holding all that compression, all that power, you know, when the car's running? And it's not, it's just the force of them being sprung out is what seals the housing and the rotors.
If you look at the seal itself, there's actually little steps in it, right? And those are the steps to hold the spring in place, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Right here in the bottom.
Notch and
They
notch.
keep them from sliding.
So does it go, so this is the front.
So when you build it, this is gonna go down first.
Yep.
And they're two piece. So the second piece that gets put on after the rotor.
So it goes this way then.
Yeah.
So we want to grab the outer spring and the inner spring. Okay. Then we want to make sure we have movement. Boom. Love that. Inner spring. Drop that in the center. Boom, 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 boom. Then we take a grease to hold the apex in place once we get it in there. Boom, a little bit. A little bit. I can imagine everyone's like process of building these engines is a little bit different overall.
Some people use petroleum jelly. I like using petroleum jelly too.
You like a big petroleum jelly?
I got called out a lot at 7-Eleven. Some people even use like that cooking grease.
What?
What's it called?
Crisco?
Yeah.
Crisco?
What?
Yeah, but they're frowned upon. The people that use Crisco, they're frowned upon.
Apex.
And then that rotor's built pretty much.
That's it. Rotor's built. Step one.
And we gotta do this one now.
Oh, we didn't even do the side seals on that one yet.
No, we haven't done anything on this one yet.
Oh man. See you guys in like 40 minutes. And they're done. Both rotors are ready to go, ready to get dropped into the housings. But now it's officially time for the Dorito sandwich. Time to stack all the plates and actually get this thing all together.
The engine stand, set it up, and just like.
If you guys didn't see the inside of this from the last video, can we just talk about how wild it is in here? The amount of just like 13Bs and 20Bs, just hanging out. I love it. Just taking it in, the aura coming off all of it.
Shake it, the muscles.
We got quite a bit to do, but it should come together pretty quick. First plate, this is the very first plate.
The front plate.
The front plate.
Damn.
Damn, that was bad, bro. But this is just like assembly lube, isn't it?
No, it's a tacky liquid just to keep it in place because we're gonna be flipping them upside down. It's like the same with the seals.
Yeah.
We put some lube on it to keep them in place. It goes in like that, and then it has to stay flat because it is a square.
So these are our coolant seals, which, like I said, is kind of like our head gasket, right?
This is one that people will mess up on because if you don't put it in right, like it is right now, look right here, it twisted itself.
Oof.
So what it'll do is it'll leak coolant right there.
Yeah, we would have had a bad time.
So you always gotta check, make sure it's flat.
Rosie approved. Of course, right here, these are all coolant passages. So of course, these giant O-rings where it's gonna seal the coolant passages between the different stacks. And then we have these O-rings right here that's gonna seal the oil passage for the dowel pins right there, which we were talking about before is gonna be the weak part of the engine. Is this casting actually breaking here and then oil leaking? And it's not good.
Not with this one's stronger. So obviously you can't push like 700 horsepower on this because it will like eventually crack. That's what you have an REW for. They're way thicker.
The FD engine, but those are quite a bit more expensive.
The other engine, you know, for the FD.
I never told about the other engine. There's another engine.
Yeah. What engine? What engine? What?
And then we're actually gonna throw all the O-rings in now, just so they're kind of all done out of the way. We don't think about them. So we have the front plate, we have the rear plate, the mid plate, and then we have the little O-rings for the housings. I'm not stressed, you're stressed.
Oh yeah?
No twist. All that was a twist.
Oh yeah? You want to move that one?
Your hands are dirty.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Put the tip in.
No, I'm just, give me. Yeah, here we go. There we go.
You just
that's
wet.
That's it. Bobby.
Trading the Eiffel Tower. Watch out, man. I'm married.
Bro, this is rookie stuff. I need more. Get in here. So what is this? This is the crank pulley almost. I'm trying to put this in, in piston motor.
This is the stationary gear. So the rotor spins on this gear. So you saw the rotor has a gear on it. It actually rides on this gear. And the job of the E-shaft is to like oscillate it around this.
Okay. The bearing's on the inside, but there's no outer bearing?
No.
It's just metal and metal?
Yeah.
Fine. Love that.
On top of the bearing.
The bearing in here that the E-shaft literally sits in. Right?
It's like the, like on the piston you have the thrust bearing.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Cool.
So now I need the bolts. We'll tighten this to 18 foot-pounds. Then we'll flip it and then the stacking starts.
Perfect. There was an O-ring in that, right?
No, the O-ring goes on the rear one. Because this is close with the front cover.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about it leaking. For it. Technically. Yeah.
Before we start stacking housings and stuff like that, I want to talk about the porting right here, right? Because I feel like when we talk about rotaries, you hear about street port, bridge port, half bridge, all that stuff more than anything, right? Because when it comes to rotary, there's no camshaft in this thing, which can usually use to kind of control your power band, right? With a rotary, you're really controlling a lot of that with the porting of your housings, right? This is the front cover. So for this one, we went with a half bridge, right? The two big ones are street port and bridge port, right? So a street port is essentially when you take just the OEM area right here and you almost just enlarge it, right?
Polish it up and enlarge it because it's like super rough casting.
Like porting the inside of a head, right? But you want to get any more area out of the intake, you actually do this thing called a bridge port where you have to make a whole new area for air to come into, because if you keep going this way, there'll be nowhere for the actual side seal to seal against the housing.
So these seals The ones that we just cut will actually fall out through the port if you kept going to the side. So you leave a bridge for the seal to ride.
Yep, so now the seal will ride on this little bridge right here, and we have a whole new part for air to actually go into. What makes it a half bridge is the fact that it's only on the front and back housings, right?
The secondary ports, yeah. Primaries that are in the middle, the small ones, and then these are the high power ones. That's where the bridge is at.
With that, Vargas is kind of picking our power band to kind of give us those bridge port braps, but also try and still keep some low ends in it, because if you start adding huge bridges front and rear, you're actually going to be trading your low end power for just top end power. You can get even more aggressive with this, but this little thing right here is going to give us our
The rotor's already lubed up the bearings, so now we're gonna do Jimmy's favorite part, and we gotta lube up the shaft.
Oh, come on. Where is it going? Oh, yeah. Why do you put it on there and then, whatever. Everything.
Just pause.
Everything?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Don't look me in the eyes when I do that.
It's plus 10 experience right there.
So when you get like 3 rotors and 4 rotors, you're basically just getting more of these on there, right?
It's like that one. Yeah, just longer.
1, 2, 3. 3 rotor. we'll get there. We'll get there. Like a Dora the Explorer episode.
Stop rubbing it so much. Like it was just moving it.
All right. So we RTV these lower pieces right here because if you don't, it leaks oil. It'll still leak oil. Still gonna leak oil. It's just what they do.
Yeah, it's gonna leak regardless.
Line up the those. Yep. Come on, get after it. That's a tight fit.
Yeah, because it's crooked.
There we go. Boom. And if you guys didn't see before, we have these O-rings right here between the dowels, so those don't leak oil.
So rotor next. So we do the front one.
Oh,
and then we got these little pieces right here that come off second.
Oh, the other pieces of the apex seals. Oh boy.
So this part.
So now you got to compress all the apex seals,
Yeah.
right? Because some people will put them in after the rotor's actually already.
Okay, yeah, look how much easier that was.
That was smooth. I'm impressed. I watched a few videos. I saw guys fumbling that.
Springs, you need to set them back in all the way. So you push the springs in. You remember how it had that little leg?
Yep.
To hold the spring in? Same thing. It's got the little leg.
So it goes, let me guess, this way.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So start from over here and ride it in so you can feel the spring getting pushed
Oh,
on.
I see it. I see it. Boom. Well, yeah, that's nice because now these will allow themselves to actually wear into the correct.
See? And then they are on a spring, so this is another thing people mess up on. While you're building it, it's going to move, and you saw it pop out like that. Usually I'll put some assembly lube on it to keep it from shooting out, because while you're moving this, it might shoot across the room.
That would suck.
And you'll find out, you know, after you turn it on. Pick up your favorite part.
Give me that. Come on, give me that. Which way does it go down? This way?
This way.
Okay.
So just put it in there first, just make sure it slides in. And then for the second plate, we have to actually like maneuver it in.
What do you think, Rosie? A little cool? Yeah.
So you gotta pull up the shaft. And then I'm gonna, okay, that's a little bit more. More. Stop lifting my shirt up. Go a little bit up higher. Okay, now go down again.
This thing's definitely leaking oil, bro.
No, it's not.
Because you shove your hand in the other thing.
100% not gonna leak.
You'll reapply a little bit there, right? Okay. He's making, yeah, he's being cheap on me, yeah.
Don't use the whole tube, we need it for the whole thing.
Nice.
Now the rotor, go get it.
Rosie, get the rotor?
Get the rotor.
Come on.
Those are my keys. I need to squeeze all the seals in.
Oh, I'm gonna drop this thing.
Don't drop it, bro.
Okay. Alright, so. I got this. I don't need you. Got it. That looks sick. That is super cool.
Just push them back in.
Yep, reseat the springs. There's gotta be RTV somewhere that we're missing.
It's already on.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's a
Yo, okay, put more.
I like how you just accept fate. You're like, it's gonna leak anyways. You might as well just let it bang. You know, if we had Honda Bond, then it wouldn't leak now. Right, Spoon?
Yep. Called it.
Look at this. What is this, bro?
No wonder they on you.
Just be careful with the seals. Don't put your dirty hands on it. Don't drop it either.
This is heavy.
This is one, and the other one. Okay. And now. There you go. Rear gear.
This, we put an O-ring on this. See, O-ring, don't forget the O-ring. Bearing in here too, big juicy bearing. Get it in there. Okay, okay.
2 fingers. Yeah. Alright. And then torque this to spec.
We're torque ready?
18 foot-pounds of wrist strength. Thank you very much, Mom.
Seat it before we beat it. We stacked everything up. Now we gotta basically bolt it all together because right now they're just sitting by gravity. Instead of having head bolts or head studs that hold the head to the bottom end of a piston engine, we have these giant bolts that actually squeeze all the plates together. And just like an engine, you could do bolts or you could do, we'll say studs, right? Studs, of course, will have a better clamping force, but unfortunately,
They're external.
they're external.
Not like the, yeah. Like
So they tend to lead to more leaking, which we don't want. At our power level, the bolts, the OEM bolts will be more than enough, but what we're gonna do as an upgrade is we're actually gonna be using the FD bolts instead of the FC bolts, because you could tell, look how much skinnier the FC bolts are. The FC bolts taper down for some reason. So it's literally like 30% thicker. FC, FD. Skinny, FC, wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Washer is actually a seal. You see it right there? Since there is fluid in this passage.
no, that's the long one. That one goes over here. The other ones are the same.
Okay.
There's just one.
Also, what did I do wrong?
So the rubber part goes facing down.
Boom. We don't want these to leak. Just like head studs, there is a specific factory torque sequence. So it seats everything nice and even. We have all these damn O-rings we gotta get to sit real nice. You sure?
Yep.
So let's just seat these before we torque them.
When was the last time you used a clippy clacker?
It's been a long time. Going analog. I like when it screams at me. Beep, 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 beep. I need to make a torque wrench that just goes, chill! First pass at 20. I think we end up at what, 30 foot-pounds?
35.
That's wild. It's not much.
OEM is 26, so.
That feels a lot more than 30.
100% 30.
So we are putting on the counterweight for it, and this is actually an automatic counterweight, and since usually they're balanced to the OEM flywheel, and we're gonna be putting a twin disc on it, if we use the OEM counterweight, everything is balanced to itself versus being balanced to the flywheel, if that makes sense. So when we put like a twin disc or something on it, with that balanced to itself and this balanced to itself, theoretically it should be all balanced together.
400 foot-pounds is that nut right there.
Is that a Milwaukee? No.
No, this is the beefer, bro.
Okay, when we get back, we'll get Milwaukee to make sure it's actually tight. First spin. Ooh. Ooh, bless you. It feels smooth, that's all I care about. There's no like...
3 pops, you listen to the pops. All right, do that. Oh, it blew my finger out. All right, try now. Sweet. So that's how you know nothing got stuck.
Wrap. Alright, so before we put the front cover on, we actually have to measure backlash, which you'll see right here. There's a little, see that little spacer right there? So that will be adjusting our backlash on the length. So we gotta just throw one in there for now, torque everything together and measure it out. And if we get lucky, first try, sick. If not, so be it. So front also has a counterweight. Meet you, puppy. Meet you, puppy. There you go. So before we even started all this, Vargas used this balancer over there and balanced all the counterweights with the E-shaft all together.
So we do all that stuff in-house now, balancing. And then we do the service for our customers. And then if people want to build their own engines, we also balance their engines and they can do it themselves.
Fantastic.
This is the difference between yours. That is balanced. We removed all this weight.
Wow, that's a lot.
And this one. So this is balanced by Mazda for like 7,000 RPM. This is balanced for 10.5. There's nothing, we're just gonna put this stuff just to make it easier to take on and off because we do have to, we're probably gonna have to try a couple times, like a couple different spacers.
So this is the quick stack right here.
By feeling it right now, it feels good. Like up and down.
Yeah.
Like you can, I don't know if you try pulling it up and down.
Because we want some lash in it.
You want some of
How
it.
much do you want? Because this feels like...
Between 2 and 4.
This feels like 3. I'm feeling it. Yeah, it feels like 3.
3.
Look at that.
Yeah, so a little under 3, so that's good.
3.
That's what we want.
Felt that,
So-
boys.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Take this back off. Front cover gasket. Love that. We should probably RTV it because it's gonna leak. Nah, we don't need to. Metal gasket. Oh yeah, nice. Oil runs through the E-shaft, right? That's how it gets out into the rotors itself.
Yeah, so it actually goes from these dowels, goes this way, feeds the bearing, and then the bearing feeds the E-shaft.
That's wild.
And the E-shaft feeds the rotors.
So we have this right here, which is a thermostat for the oil inside the rotors, right? So it lets the oil in the rotors get hot before it releases.
So it's like a thermostat for the coolant, same thing.
Some guys like to delete that.
They like to delete it, but you know, it's like deleting your thermostat on the car. It's never gonna get warm. It's never gonna get to temperature. There's a lot of mods that you can do, but you don't need them on a street car. Deleting your thermostat on your daily is done.
Yeah, deleting it on your drift car, not a horrible idea.
Nah,
Like, you gotta pick your battles. So what's next?
The oil pump. It's in the parts are right now, so as soon as it pops out.
Perfect. Here, of course, we put a lot of oil inside the oil pump gear, so it's not gonna do a dry run when we first start it. And then we have the drive gear for our crank angle sensor, I guess you call it on this thing. Little keyway.
The one you boogered up.
No, didn't do shit.
Slide it from the top first and then just spin things until they catch.
There we go. And then this is gonna, where you at? Where you at? There, ooh, that was nice. It's all attached. Front cover. Is there any parts you have to RTV?
No, got a metal gasket.
We'll tie it all together. There we go. Well done.
On this one, since you're not running the oil metering pump that injects, you're gonna pre-mix. You put a block off plate like this one, so I'm gonna give you a link to one that comes to plate and the jet block offs.
Okay, fancy, cool.
Now when you put the jet block offs, don't over tighten them all the way in because you'll put a titty on the housing.
Put a titty on the housing.
If you over tighten it, you'll have a little tiny titty right there.
No one wants a little tiny titty.
And then your apex seal is gonna be hitting that shit and breaking.
No titties. What was that? What was that?
If it leaks, it's not my fault.
Yeah, you gave me good tools for it. Our crank pulley, E-shaft, eccentric fillet. You know what I'm trying to say. Boom, that's there. O-ring lubed up, RTV right here because this is a sealing surface because of course oil's inside the E-shaft. So you get this, pop it in, there we go. Oh, that's not much.
No, 90.
She sealed? Shit. Ta-da! All right, so this is a FC engine, right? But this is an FD intake.
RE from the Cosmo. So the Cosmo came 20B and 13B.
Oh, really?
This is from the Cosmo.
It
looks better.
It does look better. It looks fancy. Yeah, see, look how fancy that thing looks. Fast.
There we see how the ports don't line up because it's FD.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got that adapter.
Yes, I did. All right, so of course we still have our accessories and everything like that, and this is the intake we will be running, just the FD one. I didn't realize the Cosmo one was so much cooler. 13D RE one.
So much cool.
So much cool, but this still looks cool. Way better than the FC one because this modernizes the engine quite a bit. It's super tall, it looks really gangster. And honestly, there's not really gonna be much underneath here other than like the fuel rails. It should be pretty simple looking, especially compared to an OEM one where there's like 43 feet of vacuum line. So it looks amazing. I'm super happy. We officially have a 13B for the FC, my first rotary. We got to come down to the Vargas headquarters and build it with the man himself, which is cool. I felt like I was with Nakai cutting up a Porsche. You know what I mean? Like, still got to put the pickup tube on it and the oil pan, and then the engine mounts and stuff. Oil pan and engine mounts go on together. We just didn't have time to get it powder coated today, so we're gonna do that back at the shop. This is sick. Thank you so much for letting us come here and do this.
I can't wait to hear this thing. So now we will pick up the pace again on it.
Yeah, exactly. So I leave for Dubai literally the next video, but I'll be gone for 2 weeks, and there's a couple more things I have to order, which is good. It gives me the 2 weeks to get the stuff in, and then once I get back, it is game on. We have most stuff at this point, so we should be able to throw this together really quick. I'm really excited about it.
Carrying the motor.
Yeah, he's gonna drop that shit, bro.
Big muscles, gotta show off.
All right, well, I anticipated this
Look like a fucking 1-year-old trying to learn how to walk.
Just awkward
Like
the whole
crab
time.
walking.
Oh, my back. Oh my God.
We're gonna hear that for the next week.
All right, boys, so today you guys saw us completely build a rotary engine from the ground up. You obviously didn't see the machining and the balancing and all that stuff, but the assembly, you saw the entire process. We didn't leave anything out, and I hope you guys learned a few things about it. But it's just a bare long block. We still gotta do the accessories and all the plumbing and stuff like that, but step one, with the master Vargas himself, it was a pleasure. Super grateful he was able to get us in here, even though he's been really busy before I left for Dubai. So I can come home, I can get in the car, I can put it together, we could do our thing, I can make you proud, you know?
You already made me proud of going Bridgeport.
Yeah? I'm hyped on it. That was the best mistake ever.
I had a choice to change it, but I think you convinced yourself. I don't think I did.
Originally, I told him Streetport just for the drivability aspect, and then I called him 2 weeks later. I said, how'd the port come out? He goes, yeah, the Bridgeport came out mint. And I was like, well, I thought, he said, but it was good. I'm very, very happy he did the Bridgeport on it. But if you want to get your very own rotary built, or even if you just want to get your parts balanced so you could build it yourself and maybe just use our damn video to do it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with building an engine yourself.
Exactly. So
we do offer that service if you're balancing.
If you just want to not even think about it, just hand it off to this guy, which is a really nice service.
So yeah, so we do actually sell already pre-built blocks.
Okay.
And we do offer like services for balancing also like that.
Whatever package you want for whatever
pretty
engine.
much if anybody wants an engine, or if you want to build your engine, you just ship it to us, or we can supply you one.
You did for me.
Yeah,
it was
pretty much.
fantastic.
That's like a supplied engine. Yeah.
So perfect. Of course, guys, if you want to hit him up, I'll put his Instagram right here. Put his contact in the description too for the actual business if you want to be a little bit more professional. For now, we're hungry. Let's go get some food and get out of here. So you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. Vargas.
See ya.
You bombed.